Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to talk with an organization that helps kids get ready for school so they're ready to learn when they get there. My guest is Melissa James. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you are a volunteer with Smart Beginnings.
Yes.
And I think you guys do a lot, and I didn't really know about it until we started talking.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate problem that people don't know about this great organization, and I'm glad to be here to share some information about it.
Well, it's also complex. It's not like you do one thing. I mean, you guys have an array of services to try to make sure that kids are ready, from working with parents, working with pregnant women, to working with preschools.
Absolutely. There's, the brain develops 90% by age 5. So if you're not getting in early during those critical years, you're going to miss the boat. And children who start school behind tend to stay behind.
Right.
And of course, by the time you've moved up through high school, and if you even make it through the end of high school, and the statistics are pretty scary on what happens to children later on that didn't start out on the right track.
It is. There's all those statistics about build jails. At third grade, you look at the third graders and you determine how many jail cells to build. I mean, it's literally that bad because kids who aren't succeeding by third grade tend to fall off the track, tend to have more problems.
And a lot of that can be tied back to quality preschool. Among other things, preschool isn't the only focus Smart Beginnings has, but it's a big one, preschool and childcare.
Well, it is a big one. And other reasons, I think there's this whole mom's staying home or mom's doing in preschool. We all need the option to do what works best for our family. And the research shows if your kids are in a quality preschool, they're going to do fine. It's not a hindrance to their success. And there's a lot of things preschools do that is really beneficial to kids. Not that moms staying at home can't. But there's different ways to get your kids ready. I guess that's what I'm saying.
And we try to help the moms who are staying at home as well. We have a lot on our website, different resources they can follow that, if you're home with your infant and you think, okay, well, it looks like a cute little potato, I can just kind of sit it in that extra saucer or swing and go about my business. You're missing chances that you can be helping the child develop from very, very early times. Even little games you can be doing with your baby, if itsy bitsy spider, anything that crosses their hands across the middle of their body connects the sides of the brain. And so
really?
You're forming connections between the hemispheres, and again, you're wiring the brain, you're creating it.
See, that's so complex. You're also teaching them to move. And not that they're going to not figure it out on their own, but if you're helping them develop those muscle skills, coordinate the brain, they're going to develop faster.
Absolutely. And just spending time with your child is social, emotional skills being put into place as well. They're just, the best toy for your child is you, as we like to tell the parents. Mm-hmm. But if certainly being in that quality environment when they are ready to start preschool, or if they're in childcare from early on, Smart Beginnings wants to make sure that is the best possible environment that they are in, which is why the Star Quality Initiative was put into place.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Star Quality Initiative means?
It's called initiative. It's really been around a number of years now. It's a rating system, a quality rating system for early childhood programs. So it goes from 0 stars to 5 stars. They're just now starting to be a few 5 stars. They were really stingy with that 5th star, but you have to really prove a very high level of quality across many fronts, from staff training to the way the classrooms are set up to administration, to be able to prove that you've got the quality that merits that star.
Okay.
One misconception about the system is that if a center gets 1 star, that it's not a good center. That,
right. A 1-star review is not good. You don't buy that product.
Exactly. But that's not how it works with the star rating system. If you have 0 stars and you're a participant in the program, it means that you had only done the minimum of what licensing requires. You've done everything licensing requires, and you're a safe place to go.
And that's something, really.
That's still great.
That's better than a 1-star review would be somewhere else. So 0 stars means you've met the licensing requirements and you're safe.
And we really don't, as far as I know, there are no 0. We have, at least you've got 1.
If you're going to enter the program, you're working your way.
Right. So you get that 1 star. It means you've gone a certain amount beyond what you had to do into what, is even better. 2 stars, even more, and 3 stars, and so on. And it's not just a rating system, it's a rating and improvement system. So you don't want to just get your star and say, okay, I'm done. I know what I'm worth now. We're going to move along. Smart Beginnings provides mentors to work in the centers, to work with the staff. They do trainings. They work with the administration. They provide materials to the center, whether it's, wooden puzzles to go in the classroom or a kind of paper craft the children are doing, whatever it might be, so that the next time they're rated, which I believe is still every 2 years, that they are able to move up a star, that they've improved themselves.
So a lot of your work is helping the child care centers get better at working with the kids.
Because that's going to improve how the children's outcome is going to be in their experience.
Right, and now you also can refer parents to specific child care centers. You talk to them on the phone, determine their needs, where they live, what they can pay.
Yes, that's a service that's been around for a while, and very few people know about it. It's resource and referral is what we call it. Any parent can call us up, the number's on the website, and we will have a child care specialist that can speak with them. And as a parent, you tell them, okay, here's how much I can spend, here's how old my child is, I only need part-time, or I need Saturdays to be available because I work on Saturdays, and they will put together a list of regulated centers in the area that fit that description. So instead of trying to search Google or just ask around to your friends and try to figure out what might be out there, you've got this ready-made resource that you can go to.
Now, and this is largely businesses. This is not usually you're at home, I've got 4 or 5 kids, I'm a home-based business because of the licensing requirements and the standardizations.
There are a number of we call them family home programs that are regulated, and some are licensed as well. There are different kinds of regulations they can follow, but if they have some kind of regulatory agency that is making sure they're doing what they're supposed to from a safety standpoint and all of that, then they would be in our database as well.
Oh wow, you must have a lot.
there are quite a number of them in there. So, and they vary. We don't promise that it's going to be, we can't say, okay, we're only going to recommend the 4-star centers. I mean, if they're regulated, we're going to give them to you, and then hopefully you're going to make an informed decision. Yes.
Right. And some things are, parents don't work 8 to 5 anymore. I mean, it can be, you might need some evenings, you might need Saturday, you might need flexibility, and some centers have more flexibility than others.
Exactly. So you just got to find the one that's the right fit. And likewise with children, you want that child to be in a center that's a good fit for them as well. There are children that don't fit in well at a center, and we talked about this before, that if there's behavior issues going on, which is common with small children.
Yes, it sure is. I was telling you, I have a friend whose daughter got kicked out of at least 2 preschools for biting. It was, that causes a lot of stress on a family with working parents.
Absolutely, that's a stressor to a parent, having their child somewhere where they don't feel like they're in a good environment, or where they think they're going to get that phone call. Smart Beginnings has a program in place called BITSI, which
works with the biting. No, kidding.
No, it doesn't have bit. I always think of biting because of that. It's the Behavioral Intervention Team, social emotional. So generally these kind of biting, tantrums, what have you, are going to be social emotional problems. And we have specialists who work with children and work with centers for just that reason. The BITSI team comes into a program, whether it's a home center or a child care center or a church preschool, and they will work with the director, they'll work with the teacher, and the parents and the child. So it's this collaborative effort. They guide them through different ways to solve whatever problem's going on, if they need a chart or a reward system, something they can do between home and school.
That's so cool.
So it's not something that a parent can't just call up and say, I'd like to work with the team. The program has to initiate that. But their goal is to keep children in their program. So there have been, actually, I have a little list here, 46 children that they were able to help last year in 2014.
And see, that helps the parents. It helps the kid, because, some kids aren't going to, especially a kid who's already having problems, isn't necessarily going to transition well to a new place. That's additional stress and the big change. So if you can work it out, it's probably better for everybody.
And most child care centers don't have staff psychologists who are going to be able to help with that. So that's why you bring in an outside resource.
So you have outside resources for other things too, like running your business. Like maybe they're really good with the kids, but they're not so good with the business or the marketing or the, whatever else, books, work in the books.
Absolutely. Most child care centers are run by people who love children and have background in children and not an MBA. So Smart Beginnings has a Directors Academy, the next one starting later this month. And they'll bring in child care directors from across the area and give them trainings on things like financial management and working with your employees, and of course new trainings they can do for the teachers with the children as well. We have a special one just for family home care providers. That's also separate.
Wonderful, because I think a lot of people choose that option, especially if you have a baby or a really young child. You know, you might want that kid in a more home environment, but you don't always know what you're getting, and you don't have standardization or independent referral or any sort of help. So you guys, you know, you work with them.
Absolutely, that's very important to, again, it's all about the children, and if they're in a place where the staff knows what they're doing and can do what's absolutely best for maximizing that child's potential and development, then everybody benefits, everyone wins.
So Melissa, who pays for this?
Yes, money is always an issue when you are a nonprofit.
I know.
And Smart Beginnings was started in 2007 as under the Virginia VECF, Virginia, I'm gonna have to read what it says now. Virginia Early Education or Early Childhood Foundation, VECF, and they've started all the Smart Beginnings branches across the state, and the one on the Peninsula was one of the earlier ones, and they gave all the funding. They provided it, but
yay, state!
And then, the goal is for these Smart Beginnings branches to be able to turn to local resources and to be self-sustaining. So each year that passes, they pull back a little more of that funding. So now here in 2015, Smart Beginnings Virginia Peninsula needs to be self-sustained, and it has, you know, very nominal funding from the state. So it's very important to have the support of our community around us. From grants to corporate donations to individual donations to in-kind services. We love business people to get involved, again, helping with that business side of running a child care center. So there are a lot of ways that the community can get involved and make sure Smart Beginnings is still here in another 5 years.
Yeah, because we've got to get those kids ready. And now you mentioned you guys do referrals and you have partner organizations, so you provide some direct services and some referrals. And we're going to say that the Hampton Healthy Families
Great
organization, which provides parenting, you know, child education, workshops for families, play groups, you know, things like that. We all work together to get those kids ready for school.
Absolutely, and a great thing about giving Smart Beginnings a call or shooting them an email, if there's a kind of play group you're looking for instance, they're connected. Smart Beginnings works with all these different organizations on the peninsula and can direct you to where you can find these services if it's not one that we provide.
Well, and it can be complicated. So maybe I live in Hampton, but I work in Newport News. Sometimes you want to be closer to where your kid is during the day. It isn't always that you want the child care to be near your home, or, you know, if you're going back and forth, or you want to be able to drop in. It's a complicated thing. Child care, I think there's been studies about what it does to working, and I mean, I don't mean to be stereotypical, but generally speaking, the moms pick up the burden for that, and how it impacts their work life and how much better they are able to do as employees and as professionals if they're not constantly worried about what's going on with their kids.
That's a big focus too for Smart Beginnings is family-friendly workplaces. We really encourage businesses to make that part of their policies, that, you know, if a parent needs to leave because their child is doing a kindergarten graduation, or, you know, preschool graduation to kindergarten ceremony, they should be able to go and be part of their children's life. Or if they need to stay home with a sick child, that whether it's dad or mom or the grandparent that has custody, that, you know, if you are worried as the guardian of a child, you're not going to focus as well at work. And if it's just built into your policies already, and again, it's great when there are HR services within a business that help connect parents with resources like ours and say, hey, we'd love to help you find childcare. We don't do that, but here Smart Beginnings does that. Let's make sure you know about it. We want you to have a place for your child so that you can be fully focused at work.
Good. Okay, so your website is?
smartbeginningsvp.org.
Okay, Smart Beginnings VP for Virginia Peninsula.org. And you've got tabs on there for if you're a parent, if you are a child care provider, if you are want to be a volunteer or contribute, or any of the other different ways that people could use your services.
Absolutely, there's something for everybody.
Thank you for your volunteer work with this organization. It's wonderful to hear about people who are working and giving their time to make the community better and to help our kids be successful to school, and then you hand
beyond.
them off, and then the
That's
school
right.
system and the other groups take it from there.
And
right?
they go out into the community. We want productive citizens who are self-sustaining and who want to give back and hopefully keep that cycle going.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Melissa, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. I hope you've learned a little bit more about a resource that's out there for expectant parents, for parents of young children, people who may need some resources or some referral, and also to help our child care businesses work better at producing kids who are ready for school. Thanks for watching.